Covering news where you live, this is 5 News.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tiffany Lee. Let's get you caught up on today's headlines. A new report shows that Arkansas ranks the lowest in the country for voter registration and voter turnout rates in national elections. The first ever Arkansas Civic Health Index was released last week, looking at some of the reasons for these low rates. The report finds key factors include long lines at the polls, lack of transportation to the polls in rural areas, and disqualification from past criminal convictions. Washington County Director of Elections Jennifer Price says accessibility plays a huge role in voter registration and turnout. That's why the county plans to have 42 sites open for the March primary. That's so voters do not have to go to crowded polling locations to cast their votes. Price says the age demographic of 18 to 24 years old are voting during presidential elections, but turnout is lower for local and special elections.
Sometimes we see between 5 and 10% voter turnout, and that's definitely when we see that the younger voters aren't participating in those elections. So we encourage everyone to think of elections, no matter if it's a presidential election or if it's just a special election or a runoff election. Those elections are important.
Among the reports are recommendations allowing online and same-day voter registration in this state, also enabling automatic registrations when obtaining a driver's license and lengthening the early voting period. Meanwhile, local volunteers are heading to Central Tennessee to help with tornado recovery efforts. 6 people died over the weekend, with many more injured. Property was left destroyed in at least 10 counties, and Sheepdog Impact Assistance based in Rogers is deploying a team to help with the emergency response. The organization gives military veterans and former first responders a chance to use their skills to help in the wake of natural disasters. The full team of volunteers plan to hit the road for Tennessee by this morning. Now let's send it over to meteorologist Zach Scott for a check of today's forecast.
Tiffany, we got some nice weather here. We've had quiet conditions going on for a little while. That continues for us. Now, we could see some changes by late week, maybe a good soaking heading our way, at least for parts of the air. But for today, we're focused in on some warmer weather, upper 50s, low 60s. I think we'll see a little bit of range. Some upper 50s will be in there. 59 to 62 is where we'll mostly be. We've had a lot of blue skies last couple of days. Some scattered higher level clouds going to start filtering in today, and we'll see those clouds thicken up the next few days. Upper 50s, low 60s in the River Valley and the Wash as well. A light breeze out of the southeast today, only 5 to 10 miles per hour, a little 5-mile-per-hour breeze overnight. Clouds thicken up, help keep the temperatures a little warmer for us. Acting like a blanket there, should see more 30s. Mentioned that system, some changes coming late week, back half of Friday, first half of Saturday. That's the window right now that we're watching. We'll fine tune it as we get closer, but next system taking a path that could bring a little bit more shower activity, especially into the eastern and southeastern areas of Oklahoma and into west central Arkansas. The further north we go, right now the rain chance tapers off. We'll keep you updated throughout the week. Tiffany?
Thanks for that, Zach. Well, a touring musical is bringing rock and roll to the Walton Arts Center this week. Tina, the Tina Turner musical, opens tonight at 7 as part of its North American tour. The cast will put on 8 performances here in Northwest Arkansas, lasting through Sunday. This musical tells the story of singer Tina Turner, who broke barriers and won 12 Grammy Awards during her career. The show opened on Broadway in 2019 and features some of Turner's most famous hits. Actor Wildland Pierville plays Ike Turner in the show and says that he loves the fun environment during each performance.
Another great part about the show, one of the best parts about the show to me, is that it truly is like, it's a rock concert, especially towards the end. Once you get to the end, like, we're jamming out. People bring their cell phone, flashlights out, they're waving them back and forth. It really is like a huge jam session on stage.
Ticket for the shows this week started around $40. And a local fire chief has decided to retire after 15 years serving his community. As most fire chiefs serve for about 3 to 6 years, Rogers Chief Tom Jenkins saw a lot during his over a decade of service in Rogers. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer sat down with him and learned all about his accomplishments as fire chief, as well as what he's planning to do next.
I'm forever grateful that I chose the fire service and that Rogers chose me.
Chief Tom Jenkins says he wanted to be a firefighter since he was a kid.
The notoriety and trust given to firefighters, so it was, I think my parents always hoped I'd grow out of it secretly.
He started his career as a volunteer firefighter when he was in high school in Oklahoma.
I was fortunate enough to go to college, work as a firefighter, and came over here as the fire chief in 2009.
Jenkins has now been with Rogers for 15 years. In his run, he's built 2 stations and led Rogers to be the first fire department in Northwest Arkansas to be accredited. In those 15 years as chief, Jenkins says Rogers has definitely changed, but the caliber of people hasn't.
The quality of the women and men that work here, that when I got here, it was a hungry group of firefighters that were ready to be the best. And today that remains the same.
He says the biggest challenge he faced as chief was the pandemic, but the teamwork his crews brought is something he's proud of.
We had to step up, especially in those early days where we didn't have a lot of information like we do now. These men and women have challenges every day and they rise to the occasion.
Jenkins says his next step is working for fire and EMS agencies on a national level, but he says he's not planning to leave Rogers anytime soon.
I retire from the fire department here in Rogers as an adopted son of the city. I don't know that I'd ever want to live in another community. The quality that I think we have to offer here in Northwest Arkansas to a guy from Oklahoma anyway, it's that I'm happy to call this home.
In Rogers, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Lauren. Well, those are some of your top headlines on this Tuesday. We'll continue to follow the news all day long. You can catch up with us again at 4, 5, and 6. I'm Tiffany Lee. Have a great day.